Hi YouTube, it's Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, I always think that, I'm gonna get on track with everything, and it seems like things never get on track the way that I would like. I have this vision of how life should be, and, things should be this way and that way, when all reality, things never seem to go the way we plan it. Like, I'm 46 years old, and I suffer from a condition called spinal stenosis, which is the narrowing of the spinal canal. It causes quite a bit of pain. I was told back in 2011 that I would be wheelchair bound in about 2 years. So around that time, I got really depressed. I was extremely suicidal. I gave up most everything in my life because I just felt like, what's the use? And things kind of went on a downhill spiral after that, until I pretty much hit the lowest of lows in my life. My house burnt down. I went to jail, and things just honestly couldn't get much worse for me. And then I started praying more and started having more of a positive outlook on things. Not for everybody is God or, religion an answer for everything, but just having something to look forward to, whether it's the small things like putting out a garden, or just getting out of bed. For a lot of people, believe it or not, that is a monumental task in itself, just getting out of bed every day and facing each day. So I've been there. I've had hard times getting out of bed. I still have days like that are hard to get out of bed. Not necessarily because of my depression anymore, but because of physical pain. Whenever they told me I was going to be in a wheelchair, I was like, that was probably the most devastating thing that I could ever hear. I obviously am not in a wheelchair, and I struggle each day to keep going. I look for things to keep me moving. And I alter the way that I do things. Like right now, I am weeding the gravel path in front of my house. So I just sit down on the ground and pull the weeds. Like, unlike before, I would just bend over and pull them, and it wouldn't take me as long as it takes me now. It takes me all day to, it seems like, to do a task that would normally take, maybe an hour or two. So basically, I've learned that we don't have to give up on what we enjoy. We just gotta find a different way to do it. And that's like with my gardening. I can't go out there and plant 200 tomato plants, but I can still plant 10 tomato plants. They may not be the prettiest one in my area, but they look good compared to, what they could look like. Just because somebody else's life looks a certain way doesn't mean that's the way ours needs to look. So if people tell you that this is the way things should be, doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it should be. So if you follow my channel, you're gonna see I'm gonna start doing more videos about how I do things. Normally I don't like do videos of me working out in the garden or out in the flower beds or any of that, but I think maybe that might be beneficial to some of you that have disabilities or don't have the mobility that you used to, and to see that there is a way to do it. And sometimes, you know, I get done and I can barely walk when I go in the house because the pain is so bad. I usually take a pain medication before I get started. That gets me through to the end of whatever little task I put in front of me that day, and then or at that moment, and I try to just keep going. That's the important thing, I think, in all this, is just that we just keep going. That's like my channel. I don't have the best content and don't make the best videos, but I still think there's something to be gained from my videos. And I only get out and work in the yard the days that I feel good. Every day, obviously. Yesterday, I didn't do anything all day. I sliced up some carrots for my daughter. She was home from college, and and I made a little bit of soap yesterday. Actually, I made the soap the day before. I just poured it in the molds. I just did the melt and pour. I had a wedding, a bridal shower is what I have in order for some soaps. So I poured some in the molds, and then I set on the couch and packaged them yesterday. So it may not, I just don't know. It's different the way I have to do things now. Like, I would stand there and package them and it wouldn't take me, you know, very long. Now it takes me twice as long. I don't have the dexterity that I used to before, and it takes me a little bit longer to tie a bow, but I can still do it, and that's what's important. You know, I need to focus on those things instead of what I can't do, like not focusing on not being able to stand there for an hour or whatever it may be. Just focus on that, you know, I still can do these things. But like I said, I'm going to try to do better this year and show you how I do things. Maybe, like, for instance, my mom, I get this from her. She's not the best person in the world, but she passed along her determination and her will to not quit. She had been diagnosed with lymphoma a few years ago, and she beat it. And she also has back problems. So the lymphoma being weak from all the chemo and the radiation and just the toll that cancer takes on your body, coupled with the fact that she has back problems as well, she would get out and work in her landscape. She would lay on the ground to do, I know it sounds weird, but she would actually lay on the ground to pull her weeds and stuff because she couldn't even sit up. So if you have the determination, you can do anything you want. If you want to grow your own vegetables, you can do it. You may not be out there with the tiller and the tractor and out there pulling weeds every day, but something will grow. And may not be perfect, but at least you did it. So, that's kind of my pep talk for today. I don't usually give pep talks because, you know, kind of lost most of my pep over the years, but I'll get it back. I'm determined. I'm working on better health. I've lost 25 pounds since last year, so I've been I changed my diet. You know, I still eat things that I shouldn't eat. I'd like to go to a whole foods diet and eat nothing but natural, non-preservative foods altogether, like do away with the luncheon meats. But sometimes it just gets so busy that I really don't want to stand in there and cook, and so a sandwich seems very appealing. But then I'm eating bread, and the bread's not good for my diabetes, and I think my overall health, it kind of interferes with that a little bit. So I really need to cut out the white bread, and I probably won't cut out things like rice, but if you have changed your diet and you found something that works for you, would you mind sharing it? Because I just really would like a healthier lifestyle and something to help with the pain. I know I need to add more like anti-inflammatory foods into my diet. I'm trying to do more smoothies and things like that, eating more blueberries, more fresh fruits, that sort of thing. So hopefully my health will continue to improve. You know, I'm never going to be like perfect, like, because none of us are really perfect, but it sure would help if I felt better. So I used to go to the gym and work out. That's whenever I was a lot thinner, probably about 60 pounds lighter than I am now, and it made a huge difference in the way I felt. I was stronger, and I don't think I had as much pain then, and I think that's what kept me from being in the wheelchair. I think if I would have not went through that period of my life to where I was working out, I would go to the gym like every day, and I would run a mile. I wouldn't run a mile, but I would do the elliptical because it was non-impact, and would lift weights, focusing on my neck and back because those were the issues that I was having. Now it's pretty much everywhere, ankles, so I'm trying to get these weeds. So I'm going to keep working at this as long as I can until my pain medicine wears off, and then I've got to go back in the house and I'll lay down for a little bit. Probably today it'll be too late because the sun's starting to head in the other direction. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening, I think. It's been a relatively beautiful day. I'm just taking this little tool. This is one of my favorite tools. I've got a couple of them like this. I have the Fiskars one, which is probably better than this one. I don't know where I got this one. I think maybe Walmart, but it's a real heavy duty one. It doesn't bend easy. And I've got one that has like a 6-foot handle that I use in the garden for getting the weeds. I find that is better than any other tool. Like, I'll have somebody till my garden for me, or I use the hay method or straw method to choke out the weeds, like I did previous years. And then I will spot weed with this. It seems to help a lot. This I can get down on the ground, and the other thing I can actually, you know, just go and I'll just like rake up the weeds and just kind of loosen up the roots. The problem is a lot of these have these real long tap roots like this. I don't know if you can see them in the camera. The lighting's kind of bad. So I'm having trouble getting them up here because I don't know what kind of weed this is, but it takes over everything. Right now in the garden, I don't know what this weed is I got growing in there, but it's a really fibrous, like, root system. It's like tiny little fibers of roots, and it's awful, awful stuff. And it's so prolifically grows in there. I'm not an expert on weeds. Well, I'm not an expert much on anything, but you know, just gotta keep going. Keep telling myself that. Just keep going. So I'm going to be putting out my plants this week. I've been looking for some spent hay, or some spoiled hay to put in the garden because the weeds are so bad in there this year. I have a tiller, but it's actually my grandfather's tiller. My grandfather passed away like about 8 years ago, and he gave me a tiller before he passed. And my ex-husband had it. Well, he broke it, and I'm having this guy work on it. He's had it for 2 years, my tiller, and here it is, planting season for the second season, and I don't have my tiller. So I had planned on this year trying to get the garden tilled and then cover it with plastic or black silage tarp or anything. And well, because I couldn't get it tilled, couldn't do that method, so we're going to go with the no-till method this year and just put the hay back on there again. I don't know if these are ramps or daylilies. It must be daylilies because they don't. Let's see, I don't know if you can see them. Some daylilies growing in here. I'm going to transplant these. And let's see, what was I saying? Oh, so I'm going to do the no-till method again this year. Next year, I will do the till method. I bought a seeder this year to help with seeding the garden after I tilled it. I was going to cover it and then had this whole thing planned. Because that's one of the things that I find that's hard for me is seeding, bending over and putting all the seeds in the ground. So I bought, it's basically like I think it's called a Jenga, where, you know, you plant your seeds in the ground. It's just a garden seeder. And that was going to take a lot of that work out. But it doesn't really work with a no-till garden. You really have to have your garden worked up in order for that to work. So if I'm alive next year, I guess we'll do that one. But or maybe we can do it with the green beans if I get my tiller sometime soon. I won't be able to do it with like everything. Obviously, like my tomatoes and stuff, I start those in my greenhouse that I built last year. Luckily, I had a lot of help getting that done. Got that all accomplished. But this year, I got to get the shelves built before it gets too hot in there, so I can have my fall garden, because I want to be able to grow kale and spinach and lettuce and stuff in the greenhouse next year, or for the fall. And so, well, I guess that will conclude today's video. And I appreciate you watching if you're still with me, listening to me babble. And hopefully, you know, you'll get something out of my videos. Thanks for watching.